What is going on, everyone? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is February 10th, 2021. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today, we are going to provide an update on the Pristine Capital trading service. And what's pretty cool is our tentative launch date was March 1st, but we're actually moving that up to February 15th, which is this Monday coming up. So I'll talk more about that. We're going to talk about the price action and the indices. We'll talk about our sectors and style factors, some of the trades I took. I took so many trades today that I don't even know if we have time to go through all of them. And then we'll wrap up with some options order flow. But before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer. Nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters. And last but not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, let's jump right into it. This is actually take 2 of the video. I actually recorded the entire video and realized I must not have hit the record button. But anyway, so now this one should be a little bit better. So we had boom. All right, let's go right here. All right, so quick update. Yeah, I'm running on very little sleep. So for the Pristine Capital Trading Service, we're moving our launch date to February 15th. Yeah, I was working with a developer. That didn't really work out. It wasn't really being too responsive. I pretty much learned web development in like a couple of days. And I've been working on the website. Website is almost done. So anyone that has reached out to me, with interest in joining the group, I'm going to send you an email, as soon as the website is up and running. Should be sometime this weekend. That way you can get signed up for the service, and I will add you to the Discord. So stay tuned for that if you have reached out. And I'm pretty pleased with the number of people that have reached out. We're going to have a nice core group to start. If you haven't reached out to me yet, please feel free. I have my contact info right here on this slide. I'm also going to post that contact information in the description to this video. All right, so let's jump in for the good stuff. Let's take a look at the markets. We had the S&P 500 close down 0.04%. That is measured by the SPY. We had the NASDAQ QQQ down 0.23%. We had the IWM small caps down 0.66%, and we had the Dow Jones up 0.18%. So some actual outperformance by the Dow Jones. Pretty interesting. So yeah, today on the surface, it looked like nothing happened, but there was a lot of intraday volatility and some big rotations on the tape today. So you can see we're still trading above our 5-day EMA. We actually tested that level and sliced through it today, but auctioned up higher. And this is actually the candle for our futures are trading right now because they've already opened. You can see we're pretty much flat. So looking at the grand scheme of things, we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pretty much a 6-day run. And now we're having, this is our second day pretty much of consolidation. So in my opinion, that's not really the worst thing in the world after a massive run to just sort of consolidate for a couple of days. If you look at how much volume occurred here, this definitely looks like some distribution where, some players are kind of cashing out, new players are coming in, but we'll have to see what happens here. If we look at the VIX and the VVIX, you can see that they were both elevated today. So you can see the VIX was up 1.66%, but it actually auctioned up way higher during the trading day. So if you look at this, you can see this level marked as 17.92. That is the pre-coronavirus VIX gap. So what I mean by that is back when we had the corona crash, if you look here, oh my gosh, just going at a snail's pace. Okay, here we go. here we are. So if you look at, when the coronavirus crash started, you can see there was this big gap up in the VIX. Well, since the coronavirus, we have never actually filled that gap. So I marked off that level in the chart, that 17.92 level. We actually came pretty close to testing that today. Then we auctioned off that low. We went really, much, much higher, and we closed, pretty close to where we opened up. So basically what that shows me is there was a lot of intraday volatility. And if we look at the VVIX closed up 6.28%. You can see it didn't close on the highs, but it also did not close on the lows. So this is definitely, a yellow flag for me. I think there was a lot of easy money to make coming off of this, VIX spike here. Now at these levels, I would say the picture isn't as clear cut, and the risk reward probably is not as great as it was back here. And I remember back here in the recap video, saying this is a pretty rare opportunity. Like I was talking about how bullish I was getting, and yeah, it was a really nice setup. Now here, I don't feel this quite the same way. Well, we'll have to see how the chips fall. So let's see, we have the VVIX. Let's take a look at our sectors and style factors. And you can see here, we had some rotation on the tape. So the cannabis sector, this YOLO ETF, has been on fire. So if you look, the YOLO ETF up 47.58% on the month. And what's funny is this is being led by the Canadian licensed producers. The Canadian licensed producers really have poor fundamentals. They're awful. Those stocks were in a bubble a couple of years ago. I played that bubble to the long side. But yeah, the names crashed and they're not really strong fundamentally. But I think what's happening here is a lot of these fund managers, they're only allowed to invest in these companies that have those 3-letter tickers, that are listed on the popular exchanges. They don't have access to all, the 4-letter ticker stocks of the United States licensed producers. So what's happening is companies like Tilray, Canopy Growth, they're going to the moon. So if you look, Tilray is one, last I checked, this stock has like a 46% short float. So heavily shorted stock, probably for good reason. But you can see this is pulling like what looks like a GameStop kind of move, where it just goes well beyond, reasonable expectations, and it's probably just crushing the shorts right now. So this is actually something that's on my radar because, who knows, maybe a bunch of these hedge funds that were also short GameStop, are short Tilray as well. And, we had that crazy run in GameStop. It caused a little bit of stress in the markets. So not saying that the same thing is going to manifest, but definitely just, another thing that's on my radar just to watch out for. And you can see here, pull up those sectors. We saw some give back in some of these ARK funds, like the ARK Genomics, ARK Autonomous Fund. And you can see these Chinese internet names remain very strong. And you can see that the energy sector, is pretty strong today as well, up 1.91%. So definitely some rotation where, solar energy, which was at one point very strong, moving towards the middle of our list here. So definitely, a lot of rotation on the tape. If we look at our style factors, you can see the winner for the day was the high beta stocks. So that was another thing where in the morning, you'll see when I pull up my trades, I actually took profits in a bunch of names, just seeing the VIX spike. I was like, let me just take some chips off. But towards the middle of the day, I noticed like the high beta stocks are in the lead. And that's certainly not risk off. So this is definitely sort of like a mixed picture where we're seeing like some conflicting signals here. But yeah, you can see the high beta stocks did well. Cyclicals were down 0.44%. They were actually the worst performing style factor. And it's kind of odd because usually when I see the high beta stocks do well, the cyclicals do well too. So definitely, mixed picture here. And then the momentum stocks gave a little bit back. But those names had been super strong, so it kind of makes some sense. And then I'm going to pull up my trades for today. And I placed so many trades today. So this is the Pristine Capital Discord. If you choose to sign up for the service, I'll be adding you in this. That way you can see everything happening in real time. Yeah, what did I do today? So coming into today's session, I saw like, oh my gosh, the markets are going to gap up again. Like, this is awesome. Let me take some profits and let me try to take some of the leverage out of my portfolio. So I closed out my Starbucks calls, which really didn't do much for me. I was like, I want to get everything that's not really performing in the portfolio out. So Starbucks, I paid 605, closed out for 520. Plug also, I paid 68.27, closed out for 67.01. Yeah, Plug just didn't really make the move that I was expecting it to. And you can see Plug, I closed my shares out for about like $67. We ended up closing about $3 lower. Starbucks didn't really do anything wrong. This one was probably, I could definitely see this trade developing over time, but it was just, I wanted to take some risk off. So I just closed that one out. But yeah, Starbucks, still looks pretty good in my opinion. Let's pull some of these up. I don't know if I'll have time to go through all of them because there's so many. I took a shot at some ENPH common stock, and I stopped out of that pretty quickly. I just took my shot at it. Positive results being sold. They did report earnings. I took some profits in some skills calls that I picked up the other day. I closed out ICLN for pretty much a scratch. Paid $314, closed out for $296. Just trying to take some leverage out of my portfolio because I'm having a stellar month so far, and I'm going to be reporting my results for the investing championship at the end of the month. So you'll actually get to see how I do for the month. But yeah, I'm in a spot where it's like the month has been awesome in these first 10 days. If something's not really working, I just want to get it off, especially when we have a more ambiguous picture for this moment in time. So I closed out the ICLN. CMLF is a SPAC that I owned that just announced their acquisition today. So I took that off the books as well. Made about like a 90% return on that. I closed out my GoodRx calls as well. I had the 45 strikes. I closed out my 40 strikes the other day for almost a double. That's about like an 80 or 90% gain. I added an ENPH butterfly. So yeah, I did a lot of trades today, and you can see I'm taking a shot at Tesla for a bounce. And this is for February 12th. So this is pretty much like a house money, free roll type trade. Really, I'm just betting on a bounce in Tesla. So let's pull up Tesla, because this one is a name that is pretty much like the Teflon stock that no matter what you throw at it, just keeps moving higher. I'm seeing Tesla, putting in like this sideways like high base here. I saw, okay, Tesla tested this monthly value area low. So really my trade is a bet that we just get like a tiny bounce in Tesla into the end of the week. But we'll see. Tesla was not really showing relative strength today. You can see it kind of sold off on high volume. So that would definitely be a shock, I think, to a lot of players that are just mega long Tesla bulls if Tesla ended up just breaking down here. So that's definitely, I'm going to be watching this stock, into the weekend just because I added that sort of like lotto trade on. But we'll see. And then let's see what else we had. I added some SPY puts as a hedge early on in the day when things looked pretty ambiguous, like, oh my gosh, the VIX is spiking, all that. So I got long some 390 strike puts expiring in April for $13.67. I was at 1031. At around noon, I was like, you know what? The market's moving so slow right now. If we were going to get some massive sell-off, it'd be occurring on high volume. I looked and saw the high beta stocks were doing really well. So I was like, I'm not going to keep this hedge on. So I closed it out for $13.66. It's pretty much scratched it, lost literally a penny on that one. And those kinds of trades really excite me. So like this to me, it's like, why is that exciting? It's just, a scratch trade. But what excites me is like, I put the hedge on when things looked ambiguous. So that means like if the market had just kind of fallen apart, I would have been okay. Then when things started to look not so ambiguous, looked like things could, resolve to the upside actually, I pretty much reversed course and I was able to take the hedge off without really taking much in the way of a loss. So that to me, was pretty cool. We'll see how the market progresses. And I got long some Capri calls. And this name, it's a really nice sort of like reopening trade. They had some nice earnings the other day. And you can see they were showing relative strength today. They closed up about 1% and change. So we'll see what happens with Capri. But yeah, I kind of took some of the leverage out of my portfolio and then I added, some small trades towards the end of the day just because things are looking, just not quite as clear to me. So we'll have to see how tomorrow goes. But yeah, we'll see. For me, the first thing is just like protect the capital. If it's been a great month, you don't want to go and just like throw it all away. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, pretty excited to see how all this resolves into OPEX because we have OPEX coming up February 19th. So we'll see. And then let's take a quick look at some options order flow. On days like this where the price action's kind of ambiguous, I love to look at the options order flow just to get a feel for, the psychology of the market at the time. You can see we have Tilray calls going up. That stock just ripped today. They bought these into the close, so I guess they're looking for some continuation tomorrow. I see a K-Web call buyer. And this is, pretty late in my opinion. So they're buying these K-Web calls when K-Web is so extended already. And I'm pretty sure it's trading like right at the upper Bollinger Band. But they did buy leaps. They bought these out for like 2022, I believe. Yeah, so that's not really too bad. Let's take a look at what else we have. We have some ENPH calls going up. We have, Frio, which is another Canadian cannabis name. So now they're really chasing after those Canadian LPs. And then we have Baidu as well. Baidu is another Chinese internet name. They are, they pretty much entered the business of autonomous vehicles. You can see this stock going parabolic. Futu is another one where we saw call buyers. All these Chinese internet names are pretty much going parabolic. The one that I own, Tiger, I took a small target in this one yesterday. Yeah, you can see these are all making really nice moves. So we'll see what happens with those. And then Roku as well. Roku, I'm seeing some call buyers, 500 strike and 470 strike. Yeah, Roku, this stock just looks awesome. So it's not really even that extended. And this thing is just a runaway freight train with no end in sight. So I'll have to see what happens to this one. I have a call spread for February. I have, I talked about this in my video. I believe I have like the 410 by 420 call spread. It expires in about a week. So, definitely just want to see that one through. And I'll probably roll that trade out in time if Roku still looks like this. But that about does it for this market recap video. Hope you all had a great trading day, and I will see you all tomorrow.